society does not like introverted men. It really kind of looks down on them. And this is for people who can relate, first of all, because I know not everybody is quote unquote introverted. And I used to be, ironically, quite extroverted. I used to be extremely extroverted. I used to be that guy that came in loud as hell and everyone knew I was there. As a matter of fact, it was to the point where I would visibly annoy certain people. And looking back at it, I don't blame those people. I do not blame them at all, because now, as I have gotten older and as I have fell back and as I have not secluded myself, but somewhat isolated myself from most people, besides my family, of course, because I am a family man. But ever since I did that and I started being one deep, so to speak, if you guys listen to Zero, all my Texas people, he talks a lot about being one deep and by himself, which I can relate to his music more than ever now. But I started noticing how annoying most guys are, or most people in general, not just men, but most guys in particular, because by you being that quiet one, by you being that guy that is a little more in the cut, you start raising eyebrows. You start raising eyebrows within the mass, within the majority of people. And I'm going to get into it. This is a midnight podcast. You guys could have been anywhere in the world, but you are here with me. Sit down, relax, and enjoy. So by you being this kind of introverted guy, you're going to raise eyebrows, especially from other dudes. Because a lot of guys nowadays are extremely chatty. They are extremely chatty, and they are extremely catty as well. Meaning they talk a lot, they gossip constantly, things that a woman would normally do. And it's even worse than females, right? I used to work in a predominantly a female-dominated profession in my younger years, and the gossip and drama was bad. And of course, me being a male, I fucking hated it, right? And they just gave off the impression that these people have absolutely nothing going on. So the only thing that they find interest in is gossiping and being catty, right? Flash forward, after my little phase of contemplation, and I would say this happened around the time of the quarantine, around 2020-ish, is when I really started becoming introverted. As we all remember, because of the the COVID virus, everybody was forced to stay indoors. Well, they try to force, but me being me, I was out and about. I was still exercising. I was still hitting up parties. I was still getting shit to eat. So I was quite the busybody during this quarantine. But in this time, I had a lot of time to myself, because obviously I wasn't at work, and a lot of my friends, we weren't keeping in touch like that. The ones that I talk to on a regular basis anyway. And during this time of contemplation, I really started looking at society and how it is. And it made me want to be more secluded. It made me want to be more isolated. And from then on, it just kind of stuck to the point where now I somewhat avoid small talk conversation, because the thing about it is most of conversations are small talk. They have nothing of significance Either it's like I said, gossip, which I don't partake in because I'm a grown man. And hey, look, do we all gossip at some points? Of course, men and women gossip. I would be lying to you guys if I said that I never gossiped or if I still don't from time to time. But it was to the point where I noticed that it was constant. That was what the whole conversation revolved around. And that really bothered me a lot. That really bothered me a lot because I've always known that if someone is talking about someone else when they're not there, then they're going to talk about you when you're not there. So all this, this is what what dudes a lot, like I said, mostly guys were doing. They were gossiping, being catty, or you had the small talk about sports, which I give two flying shits about because LeBron James and Steph Curry are not going to pay my bills. Okay, the starting lineup of the Rockets are not going to pay my bills or help me get promoted in my job or help feed my family. So I could give two rats asses about sports, but yet this is what I found myself engaging in. And I just kept distancing myself further and further until I became an all-out introvert. And what I realized at this time is that a lot of guys did not like that. They started feeling sort of, and this is going to sound weird, sort of threatened. Okay. Sort of threatened because in this society, guys are just, expected to just talk and talk and talk because that silence is awkward for a lot of guys. It is extremely awkward if they're not talking constantly. And silence is something that is precious. Everybody should have moments of silence throughout their day to get their thoughts together, to get their plans together, and know what they want to do. Because if you're constantly hanging out with people, if you're constantly trying to be Mr. Popular and have a whole bunch of friends, if you're constantly trying to talk and talk, you're not going to have your own mind. You're always going to be bombarded by other people's thoughts, by other people's opinions, and by other people's opinions are going to shape how you think, whether you like it or not, right? Like if you are talking to the majority of these guys out here, all they're doing is complaining, gossiping, and whining. So that's going to shape how you start thinking, right? But this is going to start making other people uncomfortable because silence is strength. And to be quite honest, silence is a big part of masculinity. This is something that I don't think any other channel has really talked about like that, about how silence is part of masculinity. It is a part of masculinity because that silence is strength, okay? And I know it's kind of a paradox that I make videos and I talk. That is quite a paradox, but I'm talking to a camera, okay? Or I'm speaking into my phone. I'm not directly talking to someone, meaning I'm not having a conversation. I am just talking into the phone, right? So even with that being said, silence is a huge part of masculinity because it signifies strength. And as we all know, masculinity is looked down upon nowadays, even by other men. You're going to start getting called all types of names, and dudes are going to be like, why are you so quiet? And they're going to start acting funny towards you. They're going to start acting funny because they see that you are not partaking or not chatting about the bullshit that they chat about. So they kind of feel threatened. In a weird kind of way, they start feeling threatened that you are making them kind of look stupid in a weird way. Don't ask me how, don't ask me why, but it is what it is, and not, I don't mean to use the word stupid, but it kind of makes them feel like they're talking and talking and you're just there quiet. Why aren't you spilling the beans about yourself? Why aren't you talking about what you got going? Why aren't you an open book? Nothing is private anymore from social media. We get social media people talk all about their lives. This is why a lot of these, you see these rappers and stuff getting killed. A lot of times the person, their op, quote unquote, sorry for the cringe slang, but their op or their enemy, whoever you want to call them, whatever you want to call them, they see what they're doing on social media. Their every move is being followed on social media, and that's how they get them. So it's kind of the same way when you are in real life social dynamics. You're not an open book, so they don't know anything about you. So that kind of makes them feel a little threatened, like, hey, you know a lot about me because I ramble on about myself every single day and I don't know anything about you. It's like you're keeping your shit private and we don't like that. And society doesn't like guys who are more private, who don't want to spill the beans about themselves and constantly ramble on social media and make a billion posts and talk about themselves constantly. Because when you observe how people interact, and let me get one thing straight. There's nothing wrong with talking. We're all social creatures, but it's to an extent where it's extreme sometimes. Like there's literally, I sit back and I just observe sometimes. There's literally not a minute of silence. It's just rambling about nothing. And that's the other thing too. It's not that it's about how these dudes ramble on or talk. It's about the conversation topic itself. It's about absolutely nothing, right? Because you're going to hear it. You're going to hear them gossiping about their boss, gossiping about their friends, hell, gossiping about their spouse, and just saying, you can really tell the way that a lot of these guys talk. You really know everything about their lives. So yeah, that's the thing about silent men. Society doesn't really like them too much, but if you're an introvert, hang in there. All right, peace.